Welcome to Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers. Welcome to Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers. I'm Spike.
And I'm Claire.
And Zach is, he couldn't make it tonight. So, and today we're talking to Sarah Marshall from Marshall's Hot Sauce. And we have already done half of the talk, and I forgot to push record.
Been a great conversation.
Yeah, it has. It's been fantastic. And we talked about all kinds of great stuff. But we're just going to go ahead and keep going and finish this out. Let me see, what time is it right now? So we've got about 35 minutes left. So we can still keep going. Sorry, everybody.
We're extra warmed up.
That's it.
Well, and let's make some greatest hit sort of questions for you, Sarah.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about your history with hot sauce and how you landed where you are today.
Okay. Well, I started out as a social worker here in Portland, Oregon. I worked for a nonprofit, and I taught families how to do things differently. So teaching first photography and then cooking and canning classes. And then I had to be certified to teach people. So I became a master canner. And then I started teaching at the food bank and picking up produce from the farmer's market. And then I worked with teenagers who were really into spicy food. So I started making hot sauce. And then people wanted to buy it. So I took some business classes and started a hot sauce business and left my job. And I thought I would just do it temporarily. But then, here I am, still here, still not back at my social work job. And but I still teach at a lot of local organizations. My daughter's still school garden, food banks, libraries, things like that. Still important to me to teach people how to use local seasonal produce and that kind of thing. So still doing it in that aspect, but not doing the therapeutic aspect.
And we talked about.
I was like, there was a question I had
so much about
in there that we didn't.
Women in the hot sauce industry. That was a good amount, and I think it was wonderful. And I feel so incredibly bad right now that we missed all.
We're gonna point fingers at you and say shame.
Yeah, I mean, you guys just tell me. I will talk about whatever you want, and as long as you don't mind hearing me say it again, I don't mind saying it again.
There we go.
But I think you asked me what has changed since I started.
Yes.
Business.
Yes.
So I've had my business for about 15 years, and when I first started, there weren't a lot of women hot sauce makers. And so that has definitely changed. I think the hot sauce community and industry wasn't very welcoming, unfortunately, when I first started. And I think that's definitely changed. I think now, as hot sauce makers and as the hot sauce community, and as this show is an example of, I think that is the huge difference. I think everybody is supportive of each other. They've bonded together much more. I think women are a big part of the sauce making industry. And I think that's really nice to see. I think it's a really nice change. I think it's a really nice community. And I think that is all for the better.
And I would say that the being a woman in like one thing that always surprises me is that the hot sauce industry is so much more inviting to women, enough so that when I do encounter a sexist remark or behavior or a biased behavior, that it stands out. And sometimes I don't notice it until afterward, where I'm like, wait a minute, I had a different experience than the guy who was standing next to me. But every once in a while, like I have those strange moments where so one of my things that is kind of different than everybody else's is that I like to let people self-serve at my booth rather than serving them. And I finally like clicked in my brain as to why is that it is not unusual for me to walk up to a booth and be ignored. So I want to be able to just serve myself. I want to taste the sauce and try it. And like I said, it's not, if they don't know who I am, it's not unusual for me to walk up to a booth and they just pay attention to the guys who are standing there and not to me. And so I've always wanted to self-serve for that reason. And so many guys are, oh, I would never. And I'm like, it's not a conscious thought. Nobody's like, I'm not going to sell to that woman. Like it's, generally they're just paying attention to the customer that seems more like the hot sauce customers that they're used to. But I like the fact, I like noticing that, that behavior stands out because it's not the norm anymore. And that's nice.
Yeah. I think too, I was saying earlier that when I first started, people a lot of times, because my business is Marshall's Haute Sauce, and Marshall is my last name. My husband's name is Dirk. It is not Marshall, but people would come up to me all the time and be like, "Where's Marshall? Where's your husband?
Yeah.
Where's the person that makes the sauce?" Like it was it wasn't even a possibility that I was the person that made the hot sauce, and that happened for years. And it was like heartbreaking, like when you're standing there and it's like you're already putting yourself out there making this thing. And then for someone to be like, you can't possibly be the person that's making this, then you're just like, okay, yeah, I am the person that is making this. And, why can't you just stop being a jerk? And it's like, I hated that feeling. So then I started, the Pacific Northwest Sauce Makers group to try to like bring people together so that people didn't feel bullied or unwelcomed when they showed up at their booth, when they showed up at an event, when they showed up and there was other sauce makers there. I really wanted to start this like community where people would see somebody and instead of just like staring at someone across the way, they could be like, oh, there's my sauce buddy. There's my friend. There's my, there's my person that I know, so that we weren't like alone. So, I think I told you guys that my husband and I make all of our decisions. Instead of having Monday meetings, we have these hot tub sessions. We have midnight hot tubs where we talk about all of our ideas and we decide if they're a good idea or a bad idea. And then we either do them or don't. And we go, oh yeah, that's a terrible idea. Or I don't know, let's try it. Let's give it a go. So my idea was that I was going to invite all the hot sauce makers in town over. And we were going to have a potluck and everybody had to bring a dish made with somebody else's hot sauce, and that we were going to be this like supportive community for each other. And it was either going to be really great or it was going to be a nightmare. And I didn't know what it was going to be. And everybody showed up and everybody had a rad time and they all brought their kids and families and we ate food and had cocktails and it was awesome. And then, we have this Google group and we all support each other. And we were all there for each other during the pandemic when we needed to figure things out, if we needed apps, lists, if we needed to know if we should do an event, if we needed to know how to sample, we could all support each other. And I really think that made us all so much stronger and bonded. And it wouldn't have happened if we didn't have our risk-taking hot tub session to decide if it was a good idea or a bad idea. But I'm glad we did it because now we exist.
That's fantastic.
Would you want to do a women's sauce making group in that same fashion? Obviously you can't do, if we're talking national, can't do the visiting and the potluck, but something digital, something like.
Oh yeah. I think it's a great idea.
I think it would be wonderful. And I think I've spent a lot of time thinking about it. And I think I spent a lot of time overthinking it. And I think the reality is that it just needs to happen. And then the thinking can happen later.
I think it's a great idea. And, I think that women always need to be celebrated. I think they need to come together. And I think that they need help sometimes screaming their successes and their stories from the rooftops, because they think sometimes if they talk about what they do or who they are, that it's like this bragging or it's this thing that they shouldn't do. And I think that we need to help each other get over that and talk about how great we are. I think that women do a lot of really rad stuff and we need help to say what we do and who we are. And so, yeah, I think it's a great idea.
It's a hard thing. My
Yeah.
entire staff is either women or trans people, and I have to constantly reaffirm that I want opinions, that I'm not the smartest guy in the room, or maybe I am because I'm the only guy, but that's the only reason, but I'm not the smartest person in the room. And I need that. Like, I really need that. I assume that you are every bit as intelligent as I am, or more so. And please give me, what you've got. And I have to constantly remind them that this is what I want, because I value you. And it's something that has been ingrained so much, about just this sense of worthlessness, that it's really hard, and I have to continuously do it. But it's worth it, because we have a really great. I mean, I've got the best crew ever. I love my crew, and our little company is going to grow together, and they would all love to be a part of your group. I know it. Viv has already said that they are Claire's best friend.
And I haven't even met them yet. I had my advisory board. I have an advisory board, and we met last Wednesday, and they've been telling me this kind of regularly, and I've been hearing it little bit by little bit. But I think they felt the strongest in their messaging on this last meeting of that I need to put myself forward in the brand more. That I recently I have been. I took over social media back in February. And so my face has been more on the social media. And then we also were looking for investors last year, and I had to put my story more in the investor pitch. And so I've been working on that. I've been working on putting my face forward a little bit more. They didn't hold back. They probably did hold back, honestly. It feels to me that they haven't held back. They want me to put my face on the bottle. And I'm like, what? And so they likened it to Cholula. And I'm like, okay, no, we're not putting my face on the front and center of the bottle. Great. Like, Andre already does that, and Shaquanda's will feed you. And I don't need to do that. But yeah, I don't know. There might be some line drawing, some graphic of my face or somewhere on the side or something. But even the blurbs are saying that should come from my voice, and that, just using my voice more often. And the reality is I have gotten great response from customers on doing that. And I just need to, break out of my shell and decide that it's okay. And it's fine. But just what you were saying about not wanting to share narrative, or not wanting to tell your own story, or, and it's even funny. I was telling my staff that, like, okay, I think we're going to be doing this. And my sales guys were like, yes, great, let's go. and my lead team were like, why? I don't know. They say we should, and they're probably not wrong. And that's why they're on my advisory board, because they have good ideas. So yeah, that's why. Yeah. So
people don't always know this, but I don't actually run our social media. It's my husband, and he pretends to be me because he's better at talking about me than I am.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but it's fine. I mean, because I wouldn't ever post anything. I wouldn't be like, oh, here's what I'm doing. I just wouldn't do anything. So he'll come in and just film what I'm doing in the kitchen, so that's why there's so many videos of me filling bottles of sauce. That's a lot of what our Instagram is, because one, it's what people want to see, because it is rare for for a sauce company like mine to hand fill every bottle of sauce, but that's what I wanted. So we're I don't think we talked about this. We talked about this again, but our hot sauce kitchen is in our house. So Dirk will come down and film me as I'm filling each bottle of sauce. And so we have a lot of that content every single day to us, because we're making sauce most every day. So he'll come down, he'll film it. He'll be like, hey, this is Sarah making sauce, or whatever he says. I don't know. And then he'll post it. but I wouldn't do that. So then when I was in charge of our social media, I wouldn't post anything ever because I'd be like, oh, I'd delete it. I'd be like, I don't know, this is stupid. I don't know what to say. Like, where he'll just be like, yep, this is what you're doing. He'll just like not think about it. He'll just come down and do it. And so I think that like that is helpful. It's helpful to have someone else, even though it's like your story, Claire, and you should be able to do it. And you should be able to be like, I'm so awesome. Look at all the stuff I'm doing. Sometimes you do need help because it's just hard. It's just hard to do it. It's hard to talk about how great we are. And like, I never post like, oh, I'm at this thing, come see me. I just I wouldn't do that.
It's so funny because before we even were a hot sauce company, I made a barbecue sauce at the co-op here in town and put my face on it because they were selling. Can we put my face? I was like with the OK symbol. I'm like, and they were like, no. And now we have like, I don't know, 20 of our sauces there with my face on the side at least.
Yeah,
but I went right for it,
I mean, I just think that's part of it too. Like, I mean, it's just like when I had my cookbook come out and they were taking pictures of me, I was like, yep, take a picture of me, cut my head out of it. Like, take a picture of me canning from face down. I was like, I don't want to have to worry about like if my lipstick looks right or if I did my hair. Just like, yep, go ahead, come film me, come take pictures of me canning, but just do it like head down. So then when my book came out, the publishers were like, why are there no pictures of your face? And I was like, you don't need my face in there. Like, who cares? Then I have to worry about what I look like. Like, and they were like, okay, you need to go reshoot a bunch of photos of your face. It's like the dialogue of stuff. Like that was to me, it was like, it gave me too much to worry about. So then it was like a whole nother thing, my face. Like but for you, Spike, you were like, yeah, put my face on it.
Put my face on it, man. That's our logo.
Well, and in my own defense, there was another company. So I started out as a bakery, Butterfly Bakery, and there was another company that started out basically exact same time as me, run by a woman who is the same age as me, the same height as me. I'm 5'11", and so I'm in the top like 0.1% of women's height, and she's close to the same height as me. People kept thinking we were the same person, and we look nothing alike. Like, Sarah, you actually look more like her than I do. And we look nothing like, but we started bakeries at the same time. We did actually rent the same kitchen for a little while. We were starting in the same town. And her company was named after her name. The company was called Nutty Steph, and her name was Steph. Her middle name was actually Stephanie, and that's what she went by. And at a certain point, it became too overwhelming for her to be identified as the company that she switched and went back to going by her first name, Jacqueline, because that was just easier than being identified as Nutty Steph. Now, at the same time, because she was Nutty Steph, people would always confuse each other with each other. People tried to nickname me. They tried to call me like Crazy Claire or Kooky Claire or something. And like those don't fit me at all.
No.
Like they just didn't like, and so none of those names would stick. And I remember just thinking like, it's so nice not to have my personal self associated so much with the brand. And so I think that's also kind of went behind a lot of that as well. And I also think about, Ben and Jerry's. I live here in Vermont. Ben and Jerry, the human beings, still live here in Vermont. And of course, Ben was just making national news, and people could just say, Ben Cohen got arrested, and everybody knew who they were talking about, even though, they haven't owned the company in how many years? 20 plus years. And I think that, I'm not even that deeply private of a person. I like to know what encounters I'm going to deal with. And when people feel like they know me, encounters change. But I've realized, I've gotten older. I've understood I can still, I don't know, box up those encounters in a predictable way. And it's fine. Like it's fine. And at any point, the company is not called Kooky Claire's whatever hot sauce, like I can, if I sell the company or something, like I can be the face of it and then stop being the face of it. And I just have to remind myself that, and then it's fine. And I have become a million things for my company, that I never thought I would be. And they're all fine. They're all good. So women, tell your story.
Yeah.
We want to hear it.
We want to hear it.
I'm Claire George. I own Butterfly Bakery of Vermont. We make hot sauce, mustard, cookies, and granola, and 100% of our products are made with Vermont ingredients. The thing that I hear most often from people is that my hot sauce tastes like the peppers that are in it. We do really simple recipes that don't get too crazy and nitpicky, just to really accentuate the flavor of the peppers that are in there. The unique thing about our hot sauces is how much we feature the farm and the relationship with the farm, and really bring the terroir of Vermont to our hot sauces. I am pretty sure I am the #1 purchaser of Vermont-grown chili peppers. I would love it if there would be a legitimate pepper market in Vermont where people would know Vermont for its peppers. We're all better for supporting each other. And I think that part really shows itself with the collaborations that I do with the other businesses and the other farms, that I love working together and coming up with new ideas and presenting each other with new challenges. And I think overall that's the attitude here. And I absolutely love it because that's my attitude. I try to live my life with love. The ingredients that I use, I would say that my values are reflected in that, that I use ingredients that, again, feel good, feel loving, feel supportive. The relationship with the farmer was how it all began. If I changed the reason for it being, if I went out and bought some commodity peppers, it might not be as good.
You can find Butterfly Bakery of Vermont hot sauce, mustard, granola, and cookies at butterflybakeryvt.com.
We want to hear it. And it's okay to talk about how great the things are you do and all the things that you do.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. And we're talking about in the context of women. There's a lot of guys who don't want to share their stories either. Mm-hmm. But I think as women, as a culture, are taught not to. And I think that's kind of the difference.
Yes. Yeah. And it's, I like seeing that it's changing.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. And then every once in a while you're reminded that it's not.
Yes. Every time I turn on the news.
How different it could be. Anyway, so one question I did have that I didn't get to ask in the last go round of questions. Master canner. Tell me about that. What is being a master canner? Because when I started my company, I was like trying to figure out how to do this, and I could find no resources.
So it's different than commercial food production. So the master canning program, you probably have one in your state. It's run through Extension Services. It's usually run through a university. So I had talked a little bit about before, we're really lucky here to have in Portland, the Food Innovation Center. It's run through Oregon State University. So they also have Extension Services, which does master canning program and master gardeners program. And so you take a 6-week course and you learn food safety. So you learn all about canning and preserving safely. So my business is a little bit different than I would say a lot of hot sauce businesses, because I really try to focus on preserving local produce and using things from local farms. So I do a lot of infusing, dehydrating, canning. Of course, we have a freeze dryer too. So I do a lot of I use a lot of the skills that I learned in that master canning and preserving program. But so you take these courses, and then you're on a volunteer hotline, and you answer people's canning questions. So they call in and they leave these questions, and then you call them back. They leave a message, and you call them back and you tell them, what you ease their fears or whatever it is that their question is, and you get them safely through whatever project they have. So it can be about food safety in general. It can be about canning. It can be about preserving. We learned about all kinds of stuff Yeah. So
That's
I did
amazing.
that program, quite a few years ago. And then you're a volunteer for the program for a long time. I don't do it anymore, because then once I started my food business, I didn't have time to volunteer because it's a volunteer program. But I learned a lot in it,
Yeah.
and a lot of things that have carried through into my business and have affected and changed like the way that I think about local food and think about preserving food. And it gave me a lot of skills that I've carried on into my business for sure. And then I still teach canning classes. So that was a big part to me. I grew up with hippie parents, and canning and preserving was a big part of my life, and I really wanted that to be part of my child's life and part of my community. And so I still teach classes. I actually just was teaching a class right before I jumped on this call. I teach them through Airbnb experience. So a lot of people come from here in town, but they also come from all around, because people that are traveling through Airbnb, I get recommended as an experience for them to come to. So people come to our commercial kitchen and take a class with me, and we made hot sauce today. So I have a lot of people that are wanting to start hot sauce businesses too that will come to my
Yeah.
canning classes. And so not only will I talk to them about how to safely make hot sauce, but then I'll usually recommend my podcast, Meaningful Marketplace, because that goes through how to kind of start a business and different programs that we have here in town that they can take through the Food Innovation Center, or getting your recipe to market, or different programs like that, so they can start their own businesses.
What was the name of your podcast again? Could you
It's called The Meaningful Marketplace.
The Meaningful
Yeah.
Marketplace.
And my co-host is Sarah Masoni from the Food Innovation Center. So she's a food scientist there. So we started out talking to women who had food businesses here in Portland, but then now we have sponsorship from the Regional Food Business Center. So we talk to women in our 6-state region. So a lot of farmers, ranchers, and other food makers across our 6-state region.
That's incredible. Like that class. So we don't have any food sciences program in the state of Vermont. Cornell is our closest university. University of Maine was my process authority when I first started out. And we don't even have a process authority in our state. We had one guy. You talk to almost anybody in food industry in Vermont, and they're like, Omar.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went and worked for another company and kind of disappeared off of the food safety map in Vermont. And that was definitely a resource that was lacking. And I mean, that is 100% what I would have wanted to do. I think Cornell probably did have a program, but Cornell's far enough away. And at the time it's all in person and was many thousands of dollars.
Yeah. And we have, so the master canning is definitely for home canning. So it's not that it would help people who are wanting to start food businesses necessarily get certification. They would still have to go through like the better process,
Right.
school or whatever. Every state is a little bit different,
Yeah.
But as far as like the creativity and the knowledge of like just preservation in general, I would recommend anyone do it. I'm sure at some point you will be able to do it online. But when I did it, it was really nice because you did it in person. And so you would go do all these cool canning projects, because you learn pressure canning too, and water bath canning, and, dehydration. And then now they teach freeze drying, and, it's just like really, it's fun. You get all those basic skills.
When I was first starting out, really every resource that I could find just said, if you diverge in any way from the ball recipe, you're going to kill people. Mm-hmm. Like that was it. That was it's all I could find. And like, I was like, well, I know that's not true. And how can I, and I had done a little bit of canning with somebody else on the commercial level. And so I knew about hot fill hold. And so I just was like, well, if I make my only liquid vinegar and I do that hot fill hold thing, I should be good. I mean, yes, it turned out I was good. That wasn't the right way to go about it, but it ended up being fine. But I just, I found it very frustrating that there weren't resources available for that creativity aspect of being able to develop your own recipes and know that they're going to be safe. And that's, so that kind of canning class would have just been exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah, I know. lobby for it to come to your state. I mean,
I know, right? I know. I mean, Vermont's a small place. Like we have a
yeah.
little over 600,000 people in the entire state. So
Mhm.
it's, but we do, I know that there's been push for UVM to have a food science program,
Yeah,
and
it always has to be
yeah,
run through a university,
yeah,
whatever one.
yeah,
I think is
yeah. I mean, the online programs have really filled the gap. The fact that,
Mhm.
that kind of everything is available
Yeah.
remotely now.
Yeah.
So I was able to do the, GMP and the Better Process Control School and all of that stuff online once I got to that. But yeah, no, that's a very cool resource, and I love hearing about how different states handle it, because you see these pockets of like innovation across the country, and they're because of a reason, and so that's really cool.
Yeah, and even if there's people listening that are thinking of starting a hot sauce business, the resources that are available in Oregon and in Portland, I talked about Portland being this kind of creative hub for food businesses, and it really is, and there's a lot of support here, but some of those support systems are available for people not in the state as well. So you can kind of look into it. So, the Food Innovation Center is a great place to start.
I'm a co-packer, and we had a client who had a hot sauce that was like very jammy. So it was actually pectin based, like fruit hot sauce. And we were having issues with the pectin. And in trying to sort out all the details, I got to be on a group call with a food scientist from DuPont. And it was like the most enjoyable like hour of talking foods, about talking pectin science, because I mean, I don't really work with pectin, so I don't have that much experience with it. And just to be able to learn about all the different attributes that pectin can have was just like the best. It was just the best.
That's the fun thing about, I go to the fancy food show with Sarah a lot, and I just walk the floor with her, and she'll like taste products, and she'll taste something within it, and then she'll say it to the person. It doesn't always go over well, because it's like it's like their baby, their product, right? And she'll be like, you need to do this. And she's not wrong. She's never wrong. Like, she knows what she's talking about. She's done this for 40 years. And so she'll like just be advising, she'll say something like some small tweak that they need to make, like changing some kind of ingredient or changing some kind of product, but like they don't always want to hear it, because it's like, they're like, well, who are you? And what are you talking about? You just tasted my thing and you're telling me what to do, which, as we know, people do that. They walk up to our booth and they just tell us what we should be doing, but they're not always right. But Sarah Masoni is always right. She just is.
That's awesome.
That's the difference. But people don't know.
She has to be on. It'll be like having another Claire on. Yeah. It'll be great.
Well, I mean, especially somebody who will just tell it like it is.
Yeah, I love that so much.
I'm willing to bet that if she's used to telling people like it is, she's also used to being shut down. And like, I get frustrated when somebody's like, no, what you have to do is this thing that I exactly want.
She doesn't even wait around to listen. She just
right, yeah, exactly.
And
just like, this is what you should do. And like,
just like, take it or leave it. Like, I don't care.
And I love those moments where somebody tells me something and I'm like, wait, what? And then afterward, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh shit, yes,
yeah,
the best, the best.
It's true.
And we should probably get to the next thing, get through this, because we are running a little bit long. Yeah, hot sauce, hot takes. Do you have any hot takes?
My hot take is my computer's about to die. I got to plug it in. Hold on.
No.
Let's see if that worked. Okay. Yep. I think I'm okay. Do I have any hot sauce hot takes? I don't know.
Things other people are on board with that you're not.
Like things you see in the hot sauce industry where you're like, not for me.
Yes.
It's hard on the spot because like tomorrow you'll be like, that thing.
Like one of mine is that I prefer a too runny sauce to a too thick sauce. That's one of my hot takes. I also don't like chili crisp. That's another hot sauce hot take.
Does it have to be about sauce or can it be about people?
Oh yeah, it could be about
whatever
people.
you'd like. We're on board.
Yeah, I think my hot sauce hot take is that I think we need a little more love in the hot sauce community.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm going to leave it at that. I think we have made strides, and but I think there's always room for improvement. So that is my hot take. I think we need a little more love. You can call me hippy dippy. You can call me whatever you want, but that's what I think that we need.
And I adore the hot sauce community, and I do worry sometimes that at some point, I mean, the hot sauce industry is growing and growing, and in fact, the compound annual growth rate is increasing from the previous expectations. And I feel like there will be some point when there is a retraction or there is a major shift in the industry and people are going to go at each other's throats. And that'll make me really sad. So I want that camaraderie and that community to be baked in to what we do so that we can't go after each other viciously.
I agree.
Yeah, same. I think we got to stay together.
Yeah. I love, that's kind of what this whole thing's about. And I really love when somebody reaches out to me, like somebody reached out to me a couple of weeks ago and they feel so comfortable reaching out. You get the same thing, Claire?
Oh, like, yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, like they know us and I don't know them at all.
Parasocial relationships abound.
Yeah. And pouring out like all this stuff about their company and expecting that I'm not going to, just go blab to everybody. And I'm like, I don't know you, but yeah, I'm not going to. This is okay. It's pretty wild. And I love it. I hope that that kind of thing continues and that we're able to be a positive influence.
I would say I recently heard, apparently there's a name for it, that kind of open sharing and support and all of that is the giver's gain mentality. And I had never heard that term. And I was like, and I love it. Now it does make it sound like your only purpose to giving is to gain, which is a little annoying. But the idea that if you give more, you will gain more, and that you're not being an idiot by giving, I feel like I sometimes get shit for, helping people out too much. I'm like, that's dumb. No, I'll give away all my secrets and then I get challenged to do better. Sounds good. I love it.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a line. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think I always like to be part of somebody's like positive story and interaction and rather than not. So I think that if I can inspire someone to start a hot sauce company, or I can inspire them to make something creatively, or I can help them just along the way, I'd rather be part of that story than something else than like, I don't know. I don't know. That's just the way I like to live my life, I guess. And so, so that's how I try to do it. I teach people to make hot sauce in my classes. I wrote a whole cookbook with a bunch of hot sauce recipes in it, hoping it inspired people to do the same. And I think that's just part of the journey that I want to be on. I, of course, number one, want people to do it safely, but I want people to be on this ride with me. I think it's a fun life and a fun journey to be on. It's not easy, but I think that, I think if we do it together, I think it'd be rad. I don't think that, the part made it in where I talked earlier about this life can be kind of isolating and we're all kind of alone in our kitchens and at our booths. And I wanted to just make sure to mention Laura because she's so important and lovely to me.
Yes.
She reached
I know Laura will never get to hear all the good words that we said about her.
I know she won't. And she reached out to me just because our sauces were in the Hot Ones lineup together and because we both had bangs. And then we realized that we had so much more in common. We've talked about doing a collaboration sauce at some point. It's challenging because we're on different coasts, but I think that it will happen and we will do it. And she's so special. And I just want to say that that's like the perfect example of like just taking that 1 second to reach out and be like, hey, we're here. We lived a similar life. Let's be buds. And we are, and we have been. And I think that those kinds of things are really special and they should be talked about. And that's what I want to see more of. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely. We should do a hot sauce shout out.
Yep. So we've changed it to shout out. It's just basically a show and tell, but we do shout out in case you don't have one available.
Yeah, no,
so it'd be somebody else's sauce.
Yeah,
awesome.
Totally. I have a friend, Farmer Ev. He has this cool company called Heirloom Seed House. So he is a seed saver and he's a farmer. So he grows lots of different peppers. I use his peppers in some of my sauces, but he also makes his own hot sauce that he'll sell at farmers markets around here. But so he uses really special peppers and he'll just make a few bottles that he'll sell on his website. So if people want to look up Heirloom Seed House, but the cool thing about it is that you can buy his pepper seeds. And so if you wanted to grow some of the peppers, you could grow some of the peppers, but you could also buy his hot sauce. This particular one is all black. It's called Pure Imagination. He uses coconut ash in it. And the pepper in this one, I have I don't have my readers on. I'm 46. I can't see.
If it'll make you feel any better, I wear glasses, but at this
I bring my glasses with me to the podcast just in case I need them every time.
Yeah. Well, there's a specific kind of ahi pepper in here, but I can only see ahi. That's it. Sorry, but anyway,
Amarillo?
No, it's not
dark. It's probably ahi panka.
Yeah, I think it is. Yep, that's what it is. And then there's
I'm working with that a lot.
Yeah, so he does some fun stuff. He has another one that's called Tropic Thunder. Where I think he uses some dehydrated pineapple. But so he does fun stuff. And then I thought it would be a cool one to shout out because other hot sauce makers could get the seeds and grow specific kinds of peppers if they wanted to. But
super cool.
Heirloom Seed House here in Portland.
Well, I was holding my tongue this entire time because I brought Jablo.
Yay!
Oh, that's awesome.
This is her smoked sauce, and this one is actually open as opposed to all the other ones, which are always still closed when I bring them down, because I actually have opened this one and I had it on my dinner last night. And it's really good, and I love her sauces, and I love Laura, and I love hearing stories about how, she just reached out, or you reached out to me. A few times I have reached out to people and I've been like, oh, I love meeting other female sauce makers. And they're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, well, never mind then. and then I feel totally like, but Laura, like, we met in person at last year's New York Hot Sauce Expo. Neither of us were showing, like we're neither of us were selling it like booth. We were just there. And I don't remember I don't remember exactly how we started talking. I don't know if it was that somebody pointed me out to her and she walked up to me, or like how that came about. But I knew her sauce and I had some in my fridge. And so I was really excited to talk to her. And I'm always excited to talk to other female sauce makers because, as you know, there's not very many of us. So yeah, delicious.
Well, interestingly, now this is going to be almost empty because, it's always almost empty. But I brought the classic. I don't think I've put this on here, but the Secret Aardvark. We had Stacy on a month ago. Had to make sure and show that one because it's one of my
Portland shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers, is brought to you by Irish Spike's unique hot sauces and Vandal pepper sauces. I'm Spike, the owner and executive saucier. Our sauces are handmade in the Pacific Northwest using the best possible ingredient. We believe that hot sauce equates to a balance of sensational heat coupled with a robust and complex flavor profile. Live your hottest life with Irish Spikes. Irish Spike's unique hot sauces and Vandal pepper sauces are available at saucecult.com.
Yeah, really is. Sarah, what is next for you? Where do you see Marshall's hot sauce going?
Well, I mean, I always am just hoping I can support my family with this business. So it's what my husband and I do as our full-time jobs. And then, it always leads to other projects and other things. So, I hope that we just keep making hot sauce. That's it. Keep making hot sauce with local ingredients. I always like writing. I like writing cookbooks. I like writing recipes for other companies. I do a lot of that on the side. So nice. I hope it leads more of that. But I think that's it. Yeah, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. I like what we're doing. I like the level we're doing it at. I like to be making the sauce myself by hand. I'd like to keep it that way. So that's it.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Do you have any questions for us?
I think my question for you is, what have you learned as you've been doing this podcast? Are there things that have changed how you've run your business since you've been doing the podcast?
That's an amazing question. And for me, yes. Claire, do you want to go first?
Well, why don't you can go ahead, Spike, and then I'll chime in.
Like everything. Well, I have to constantly have to thank Claire, because Claire alone has changed so much of, I get a little emotional talking about it, but genuinely, my business has completely changed just because we'll have these conversations that are an hour, 2 hours long after the podcast without the guest there, and she'll just, she's just a great person. And I really appreciate that. But as far as the podcast, there's decisions that I've made or haven't made just based on the trends that I've seen in the industry from talking to people. Should we go into Cisco? Should we not go into Cisco? All of those have been, everything's changed. The reason why I'm doing 25 sauces this year, and making myself crazy. I was told by someone that, don't stop creating if you're on a creative run. And I just have been.
I would say for me, it's the podcast. The podcast has been an enormous amount of fun, and I've learned a ton. Like you had said earlier, we're also siloed in our businesses, and one of the things that I like about co-packing is I do get to learn about other people's businesses and the way that they make sauce, because we all think that the way we make sauce is the only way to make sauce. And it turns out there's vastly different ways of making sauce out there. I've always had that opportunity with the co-packing, but there's so much more in interacting regularly with everybody who does this on a daily basis, and talking to people who are makers versus people who are sellers. And then we've talked to people who are like related to our industry. So I really, at one point we talked to Spike, one of your farmers, and
Luke.
I work really closely with my farmers. We source 100% of our produce from small farms within 200 miles. And I'm very accustomed to kind of the farming world in the Northeast. But out in Washington State, it's a whole different farming world. And I still relay stories from that conversation that we had with him to other people when I talk about kind of the importance of the work that I do with farms, and why I think other people should think it's important as well. And so I just feel like we learn. I learn something every single time that we're on the show, or that we record the podcast. And then also just from a business perspective, more people know who I am. More sauce makers know who I am. We've gotten new co-pack clients because of the show, for sure. Some people who have directly heard us talk on the show, and then other people who have just heard us talk on the show and recommend us to other people. So I've had clients who came to me and I said, "How did you find out about me?" Or I might have mentioned the podcast. They're like, "Oh, you have a podcast. I'm going to go listen to that." And then I asked them how they found out about me. And they're like, "Oh, I went into For Love of Hot Sauce or to some other group, and this person recommended you." And the only reason I know that person is because of the podcast. So even though the person didn't know they found me because of the podcast, they still found me because of the podcast. Yeah, it's been fun, and it's been a learning experience. I know I do things differently because of what I've learned. And I know, I like Blue Label. We interviewed them, and that's who I get all my labels from now, and they're great.
Yeah.
And even Apex, I'm buying a piece of equipment from Apex. I'm one of those constant learners, those lifelong learners. And so it's sometimes hard for me to pin down exactly what I've learned where and what it's changed, what I've done, because I'm always changing what I do, kind of. But yeah, the podcast has been great. It's been a lot of fun.
And since you're not too far away, I would say the farmer she was talking about, Tonemaker Hill Farms, and that might be somebody, if you ever need that's one more resource for you, because they're not too far from you.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Great people. Where are we at?
Speed round.
Yeah. Okay. So this is just quick answers. They're fun. Sometimes they're serious, but they're all just quick answers. All right. You win the lottery. What's the first hot sauce related thing you buy?
Ooh, well, you guys were just talking about these cool hoppers. Maybe one of those.
Bottle filler. Okay. If you had to give up the hot sauce business, but could do anything else you want, absolutely anything, what would it be?
I would just be a recipe developer.
Okay. You only get to use one hot sauce for the rest of your life. It's Desert Island hot sauce. It can't be one of yours. What would it be? I love this. Whenever hot sauce makers have such a hard time answering this question.
It's so hard because I have like 9,000 hot sauces in my refrigerator. It's hard to narrow it down to one. I would say, oh, it's so hard. I don't want to hurt any of my friends' feelings. I'm gonna go secret aardvark.
That's a really good answer.
Don't be mad.
It's something you can use it on everything.
You can. It's just so easy. It's so easy, and I know it, and I could make anything with my eyes closed, and I would know how to use that sauce.
I remember the first time I did a sauce with Alton Brown, and the first time that we had a conversation together, we spent about a half an hour talking about the secret aardvark bottle in this fridge, and I love that so much. It's
Stacey's just so rad. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going for it.
All right. Let's see. If you had a sandwich named after you, what would be in it, and what type of heat would you use?
Oh, so I like things very spicy, spicier than even the sauces that I make. So I would, if I was going to do a sandwich, I would probably do some kind of like chicken cacciatore type thing with lots of really spicy sauteed peppers and onions and chicken and tomato sauce.
Like it.
Mm-hmm.
If you could go back in time and change one thing about your business journey, what would it be?
I would, one thing about my business journey. I think I would spend less time alone. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
That's it.
What is the best business advice you've ever received?
I think it was from Sarah Masoni when I first came to her with some of my sauces. She told me one of my sauces was ugly. And I was at first like, and then I was like, oh, you're right. And it was. And it just taught me to pay attention to the color of things. And so within ever since then, I mean, I hadn't even had anything on the market yet. I went there with just like things I had home canned. And so I had mixed 2 different colors of peppers. And so then I just, after that, I was like, oh, I have to pay attention to what this looks like without me there telling people what it's going to look like. Cause I just didn't really think about that. So that was probably the best.
Awesome. I like that. If you could collaborate with any hot sauce, well, I think we know this now, any hot sauce company, who would it be?
Yeah, I'm saying Laura for sure.
Absolutely.
We're on it, I think.
If you had to pare down to only one hot sauce, but from your line, just had to pare down to one, what would it be? Yeah, you had to pare down to just one. Yeah.
Oh, like that I would make. This is hard because the sauces that I like the most are not necessarily the best sellers. So, if it was to keep my business alive, I would make the Whiskey Smoke Ghost sauce forever because it's our most popular. The sauce I like to make the most is our Bird's Eye Basil. But it's hard and nobody in the kitchen likes to make it because we have to prep leeks, which are time consuming because we have to make sure to get all the pesky dirt out of there. And so that's the answer. There's 2 answers.
Awesome. I like that. And let's see, if your brand were a cave woman, would it be a hunter or a gatherer, and why?
No, I think a gatherer for sure, because I think I make sure to gather like my favorite ingredients from all my favorite people. That's part of what I do. So I think gather.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. I missed one. I got to go back, and it's one of my favorites, and I don't know if you'll answer it.
Okay.
I'm actually, I'm a little, I've been thinking about this while you've been talking about whether you'll answer this, but it is totally hypothetical and it's just for fun. But it's also one of my favorite questions. If you had to fight another hot sauce company owner, who would it be and would you win?
Like a battle to the death.
Just a battle. I don't know about to the death. When you finish, I'll tell you who Stacy said.
I know. I think that I am so not competitive. I'm a really bad, like, I'm bad at this. I'm just like, oh no, it's okay. Just let them win. No, yeah. So I don't think I would battle anybody.
I can understand that. So I will tell you that Stacy said Matt Minnie, because he would let her win. He's such a nice man, and it's true. Let's see. Describe your favorite hot sauce from your line, which you kind of already have, but without saying a single ingredient or heat level.
Like my favorite hot sauce to eat.
From your line.
Without saying an ingredient or heat level. Orange. Thick. Vegetable based. Is that enough?
It's enough. I think that's good. You and I have a sauce, a very similar sauce. Our carrot is very, and I love yours. It's really, really good. We do a spiced carrot and ginger. I don't know if I ever sent that one to you. It's a seasonal that we do. Yeah. If Pepto-Bismol asked you to make a hot sauce for them, using Pepto-Bismol, what flavors would you use and what heat would you use? And I love this because you're a recipe developer, so this is going to be good. There's the pressure for you.
Yeah.
Pepto-Bismol. Okay. Well, it would have to be pink. So I would probably use some beets. I would make it not very spicy because people that need Pepto-Bismol have indigestion. So I would make it like mild in heat. And then to make it minty, I would make a mint infused vinegar.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. You're the first, I think, the first person who dove in. Right?
I think we've had some other people who lean into it, but no, that's generally it's trying to hide it.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite kind of problems to solve.
Yeah.
I like that. I don't know. I don't remember us having beets before. We've heard dragon fruit. We've heard watermelon, a few others, but I don't remember us hearing beets before. Maybe we have, though. But that's it. We're done. This has been a Spike Mind Media production.